$3,000 for the acquisition of the Jamestown property. Have a second?
I second.
Have a second by Commissioner McKeithen. Any other discussion?
That settlement statement was through Wednesday, correct?
Yes.
They sent you.
They're going to amend that one.
Oh, okay. So this number could change based on taxes slightly.
Correct.
Okay. Just making sure.
Unless Mr. Hinckley comes up with some new.
I doubt it. No.
He maybe want to be reimbursed for mileage to travel to Tyler for closing.
Well, he should still be able to close it.
Right.
He comes down here all the time.
Yeah.
All right. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, say nay. Motion carries. All right.
Before that we've accepted delivery of a Texas Forestry Service SFP program, and so JD thought it would be a good idea to have a line item on this agenda to make sure that it was accepted into the fleet, so that if in the future if we need tires, it gets tires. If it needs PMs, it gets PMs, and so on. That it was recognized as part of the fleet, so we can continue on with maintenance. I'm not asking for any funding or anything like this.
Was there any match funding for it?
That was 100% donated.
100% grant?
Yes, sir. The only cost incursion that we have, or the cost that we have to incur at the moment is to get it painted. My board of directors is very happy to assume that cost at this moment. We're looking at getting time donated for paper material. The clock started ticking on that when we accepted delivery, so we still have about another 4.5 months to get that completed.
And are you gonna upgrade it anyway or anything like that? Or is it just are you just gonna use it as a Humvee, as a vehicle to get in and out of bad places or whatever?
All the above. So
All the above?
It can come with a skid unit grant. That's a 100% paid grant. That skid unit's already been purchased or it's been approved to be built. So we have it coming. Again, there's no cost to the ESD on that at all. It's the cost that my board of directors have agreed to take on.
So mainly what you want us to do is insure it and do the maintenance on it?
Yes, sir.
Make a motion that we accept Bullard's Humvee into our fleet and start taking over the cost of insurance and maintenance.
Okay, have a motion by Commissioner McKeithen that we accept the Bullard grant apparatus into our fleet and take over the upkeep and maintenance on it.
I'll second.
Have a second by Commissioner Wilson. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, say nay. Motion carries. Thank you, Chief Ryder. 13, discuss, consider, and take any necessary action on Chapel Hill, Texas Forest Service grant for an apparatus. All right, Assistant Chief Adam. Fine, how about you?
Pretty good, sir. As you know, we got a $110,000 grant from the Texas Forest Service. We got 4 bids. I think Peterson and the rest of the members have agreed to go with the Skeeter, which is $227,919 compared to the Wildfire Choice 2, which is the $2,743. The reason we decided to go with the Skeeter is one, has an extra suspension on it. It also has a few other minor details that the Wildfire should have done. It has bigger tires on the back, and they're also single, plus a frame. Frame high string for low steel. I'm not sure what that is. I got thrown into this, so excuse me. The Wildfire truck also has small tires in the back of the Skeeter truck has bigger tires. The Skeeter truck also has a 5-year warranty on all the parts and labor. Has a 10-year warranty on the structure and integrity of the body. The rear of the truck has a pull-out step with lighting. Also, it has 8 lights instead of, I think it's 6, and then semi-lights that has 6 instead of 4. So we're asking if y'all would help us out to purchase that. Of course, neither of these trucks have a radio in them. I think Peterson talked to you about that, Mr. Larry, to get that installed maybe once we decide to move forward with this.
I assume since Dale's on this ran through the apparatus committee and
Yes,
everything.
it did.
Melson
It did.
knows more detail about it. He's supposed to be here to say it, but we got
I have talked to apparatus committee, that's what they're
Alright, so we're approving 132 and we'll get a refund of 110. Is that right? And our match is 22?
Yes. Now, this did not, to my knowledge, include the technology costs, which are included in there. I don't know if they got that in there or not.
That is not in here.
So we will be coming back to y'all for an additional funding request on the technology portion of that. That should be right about $6,000, just to be aware of it. Not to come back and nickel and dime.
Yeah, what was the estimated completion time? Do you have any idea?
That I do not know. I know a command truck is ready to go as well. I think he also talked about the radio command truck as well. I do not, we have, till August the 23rd to 23rd to get this done, so it's kind of like a big deal that they're saying, go ahead and get it in because it does take time to get these trucks in.
How do we
Was that for the internet?
fix the problem of not including technology costs?
So, I think that's through the process. We're trying to nail down with the technology committee, I mean, with the apparatus committee, that they'll include that in that cost automatically. I think, this one's just at the front end, this is the first one that we've had since support services was founded. So I think that whole process is going to improve. But I think this would be better moving forward. We've got a calculation where we're going to actually bring to y'all not just the cost of the truck, but what it's going to cost to operate and maintain that truck over its lifespan. That will be bringing.
I definitely think you picked the right night to ask.
So that's on the Skeeter unit, right, from Sidney Martin? Is that the one you want? For the 200, total is $227,919?
Yes, and the difference would be $117,919 on the Skeeter. And then on the Wildfire would be $101,743.
So what's our total pay, 22,000?
I'm looking at something
No.
different. The funding request forms.
Well, I'm looking at if you're going down, this is a Sidney Martin, that's the actual bid.
We have $110,000.
You got 110,000, so you're asking us for $117,000.
Yeah, the request would have to be, and the board authorization would have to be for the total amount, knowing that the grant funds are going to come back.
Right.
Any
Yeah.
we're going to have to issue is going to be the
Right.
total amount.
Right, which is right. That funding request is 132 is what I was looking at, but we're looking at I was looking at the wrong thing, I guess.
Yeah, I was looking at the quote from Sidney's.
That funding request may have included all the technology components as well. I don't know.
I don't know. And it also says delivery within 19 to 20 months of order date. And we don't have to pay it till we get the order in. I'm assuming, or is this a pay up front?
I would ask that y'all would authorize whatever was on that funding request, because that would be all inclusive.
Are we sure?
That's from what I understand.
Yeah.
Wildfires, they won't deliver. I don't know about Skeeter, wildfire, grass, I got my quote. I'm still waiting for an answer before we get started.
Right.
I hate to approve the 132 if we don't know that's inclusive of the technology.
Well, it says grant match is 22,000.
Is that included or?
I did provide that information to your chief, so he may have rolled that.
He may have-
$2,292,099.
Unfortunately,
That's the budgeted amount?
for apparatus.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. So,
So there's a percentage of that under the 10 that
well, it's kind of confusing because it says grant match is $22,000. So all we gonna be out is 22,000?
That's all we're gonna be out, because the grant, we're gonna get a grant match of 110.
Yeah.
If the total request is 132. But we don't know if the 132 is inclusive of the technology. Where did that number come from basically,
So,
without our,
can I
Yeah,
jump in here? You got a $90,000 grant for the chassis,
Right.
$20,000 grant for the skid.
110.
All right, there's a percentage of that that's matching. Added to what's left in the total brings you to 132. That's the part you would pay is $132,000.
and then get a refund of 110.
The 110 is going to pay for the $90,000 chassis and the $20,000 skid. The apparatus body and those other components to complete the truck is $132,000 out of the ESD body.
So they're asking for $132,000 on a 90-10 match?
In other words, the truck is,
I-
200.
$200 and some thousand for the truck, that's what I was trying to figure out. So you're asking for more than 22,000, you're asking for 117,000.
So that's not a complete grant, if you look at it, it's just a chassis grant. So that's to buy the chassis, and then they got a slip on as well. So it's
Yeah.
not a completed fire truck grant, which you guys are traditionally used to.
Okay.
Right.
So your matching's broke up here, and if it's a complete apparatus, you're paying the matching on the 90 and the 20,
Right.
and then you've got to pay for construction of that apparatus.
Right. Well, that's what I kind of figured, but I want to make sure we were right, not just say, well, we're going to approve 132,000 and be done with it. But so we actually need to approve 227,000 some odd dollars and get the grant money back, which will come back to us and we'll still be out of.
I have just an off-the-wall question. When did we know that we got this grant?
We got the grant, I want to say the 1st of August. I think we had August the 1st to file for it. but we had
Chief
August-
Peterson did let the board know. we got it.
No, we got August the 23rd, we had 1 year. So we got August 23rd of this year, and we got to August 23rd of 23 to.
Did we figure
We
this in?
accepted the grant.
Did we figure this into when we budgeted for apparatus?
I think we just accepted the grant and then we just said, let's get the grant approved and then, or accept the grant and then move on from there. But we had like, I think it was like 5 hours before we realized that we had a deadline.
To answer your question directly, when we set aside apparatus funds, it's not dedicated to any particular apparatus or apparatus type.
Right.
It's just-
I knew we had a rough plan though, so I hate that it's,
Yeah, and I can tell you that based on what I'm hearing tonight, that funding request is not filled out properly. So, I think that-
yeah, I just, at this point, I don't know what number to approve. Where's the top end? And my math is not good, and this is confusing the mess out
This
of
is
me.
the first I've seen of this.
Yeah.
I'm very familiar with the program, and I'm looking at what this says, 90 for the chassis, 20 for slip on. And total price, it's kind of right in that, it's under the 30 roughly that you have.
That's what we understand.
After we get the refund.
Correct. We would pay out $132,000.
And but initially, we would be out of 227,919.
So do we approve the 227?
Yeah, because you have to write the first check. So you have to approve the total amount, and then they would refund you what they're going to refund you, which is a percentage of 110,000.
Is that's after the truck been delivered, correct?
That's correct. And inspected.
Okay. So let me understand this. The total cost of the truck, according to Susan, is $227,919.
Yes, sir.
We've got a grant for $120,000, right?
110.
110, okay, 110, excuse me.
And then.
So that would leave $117,919.
Yes, sir.
So then how much more? 22,000 on top of that?
The matching bit is where we get the difference to get to the 130. I understand it. I don't, we have to figure out a different way. to handle this
This
next
is the
time.
first grant we got like this. I don't know why it came in this way, but
No, I'm starting to understand it now. We took the long way around to get to a simple answer.
Yeah.
But it'd be silly not to. So I make a motion that we approve the funding request for exactly $132,000. I'm sorry, I need to do the whole number. We need to cut a check for $227,919 for the purchase of the truck, expecting $110,000 of it back from the Forest Service. Write that motion.
All right.
Just kidding.
All right, have a motion by Commissioner McKeithen to approve the $227,919 for the Skeeter truck from Citizens Martin. Have a second by Commissioner Wilson, and that we will be reimbursed $110,000 with the grant money from the Texas Forest Service.
And I will say, next time, any chief, if y'all are expecting something like this, if you know you have a grant in and you think you're gonna get it, let's try to have that in the budget conversations, because it kind of throws it.
well, I think Paige and Nelson talked about it.
We did, that was prior.
That was the last meeting we had.
Okay. I missed
But we didn't
the
know-
first bit of that meeting, so I didn't know what exactly was said.
We didn't know exactly what the truck was gonna be, but we were still trying to get bids.
Yeah.
And so, being the Skeeter and the Wildfire, we was like, these are the two we want, and considering there's only, I think it's, $16,000 difference, you get so much more
Yeah.
equipment on the Skeeter than you do the Wildfire.
I just want to make sure we're
All right,
taking care of it.
all right, have a motion and a second. Is there any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, say nay. Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, that's confused the mess out of me.
That's just totally different from what y'all are used to.
Yeah, it is. Chapel Hill. All right, item 14, discuss, consider, and take any necessary action on fire chiefs presenting, discussing the issues with the board for future actions. Chief Arnold?
Okay, I got several things here. Some of them are my department, and then a lot of them are some other issues. As far as my report, I didn't have any problems with it, caution to me. Now, as far as you go down to the other stuff, let's see. First thing I had, on the VFIS, I need y'all to find out one thing. We always used to get errors and omissions on our volunteer boards through that deal, and since we have been taken out of the loop on paying these bills, I don't know if our boards are still covered. I've been asking this question, nobody can give me a solid answer. So I want to know, are volunteer boards covered by the errors and omission clause in here, or do we need to go through them and get another policy? I asked them that for 3 years, and I can't get a straight answer. Okay? Let's see, and Larry, the only thing I got to say about, y'all have this deal on the rebuilding you're working on, we need to look around at all the stations. I got a bunch of extra shelving in Station 2. It's industrial type. We're not really using it. It needs to go somewhere if I need it, it needs paid. Okay. And this one's a good one. Here's some total bills, I'm gonna let y'all have it. You're in arrears, you've been turned into the loop. Okay?
I want to mention something on that real quick.
We're having a problem.
Well,
What it is.
So what it is it's no longer net RMA. They switched to NPPA, and they didn't hand off all the exemptions. So we're having to refile for exemption on what they want. So the problem,
I keep sending them in, keep getting them, sending them in, I just,
they've been working on it.
you all got that? Okay, and the last thing I have is from my liaison position. We were asked to call a meeting between the Volunteer Association and the Paid Association. We held it at the Flint Station. It was a very productive meeting. We found a lot of common ground, and a lot of problems that both of us are having, and all seem to be back in the same direction. So we're working together We got some issues on the bank side. We're all working together to try to resolve these issues so all the SWAT teams. Other than that,
Sir, thank you.
No, thank you. Board?
Hello again. So right off the bat, our report looks pretty good today. We had zero no response, zero errors, zero incomplete reports, and right before I came to the meeting, we had zero missing reports. We did have one volunteer response. I had 3 on an overnight, and then 2 of them had to go do shift work at 5 a.m. So it left just one person between 5 and 8 a.m. working a day drops of structure fire in that time. So we had a one-person response. He took a tanker. They completed that incident, came back to the station, and then in turn we also had a one-person day crew. So my one volunteer stayed over to help cover during the day. But in the end, it was all taken care of. 90 incidents for the month. Still going strong with lots of new recruitment. We have 7 new members that are on probation. We have 2 members in EMT school that are just about to wrap up, and we have 1 in paramedic school that finishes in the next week or 2. We've been busy this last month with more PRs. We had a presence at the Freedom 5K in Bullard, as well as the Red, White, and Blue Fest that we had in Bullard. It was a full-day event with vendors. Bullard PD was there, Smith County Sheriff, Cherokee County Sheriff. They brought their big ramps out. It's a big veterans event, so they had a veterans area, they had music, and just a really good time with the community. Got to have a lot of good face time with them. Upcoming PRs, we have Magic on Main this Friday. If anybody's in Bullard, we're going to deliver Santa Claus to the center of town for his annual tree lighting ceremony. Again, we'll have for Magic on Main where we'll do some more recruiting. We'll talk about the different programs that we offer in the community, how we can help people with their smoke alarms or any other issues that they have. The next day, Saturday, is going to be our Christmas parade, and then the city will have they'll host a outside movie after the Christmas parade. We do have our Christmas banquet scheduled for December 18th. I mentioned before that we had the Lucas device that we purchased, and it's now in service. It's been deployed twice in the field, quite successfully, in fact. We did have CBS 19 come out and do an interview with Lieutenant Simons on a demonstration of the device, and then we had KLTV out last week who did another interview about the Lucas device to ask more information. This Wednesday, day after tomorrow, we'll be doing another TV spot with KETK. They're coming out to the station to do their KETK Gives Back. It's a live interview where they do it mid-morning just to talk about first responders in the community. Talking about our online presence, our last post had a really big reach of almost over 46,000. We're approaching about 3,000 followers on Facebook. Along with that, trying to include the community on as many different projects that we have. Captain Grammer has established the Bullard CERT team, which is our community emergency response team. And so it's actually through the Department of Homeland Security, but it allows citizens the opportunity to come participate in emergencies, to do things that are within their wheelhouse. So think about when snowpocalypse happened a couple of winters ago. We had many phone calls into the station of community members asking, how can we help, what can we do? This gives them a means and a pathway to be able to participate, to do things that's not a danger to them, but definitely makes an impact and helps relieve some of the work off of our first responders. Like I said, it's through the Department of Homeland Security. They have their own insurance. They have their own team leads. There's no cost, no obligation to Bullard Fire. We're just simply the sponsoring agency. So if we ever need to call them up in the event of a tornado or some other huge natural disaster, one phone call and we get a group of volunteers that come out that are trained and are able to help out. Moving on, I mentioned earlier the 2 skid units. We have a grant for a skid unit alone. It was submitted back in 2018. It was just approved. And then a skid unit grant that came with the Humvee. And so if anybody's interested, I reached out to 8 different companies to get quotes on those. And so we've selected one. Feld Fire is the one that we're going with. Again, my board of directors were happy to take on the cost of that. One is 100% paid for, the other one's a 90-10 cost share. But Feldfire had everything that we looked for and more, great customer service, bent over backwards to make sure that everything was on the quote that we wanted. So we decided to move forward with them. On the Humvee, getting it to move forward, getting it ready for paint, getting it prepped, we've ordered and paid for a roof and door kit because it came with soft top and soft doors. So we put a hard top, hard back wall, and hard doors on it. So we're partway through getting that installed before it goes off to paint. I want to talk about our gun raffle. We're still going strong in the gun raffle. We've got about 300 tickets left. By the way, they make great stocking stuffers. If anybody's interested in buying a gun raffle ticket, you can see me on the break. Once we hit 800, then that'll be complete. That's part of the funding is coming for the Humvee is coming through the gun raffle, as well as paying for EMT school for some of our members that are going through EMT school. Also wanted to mention, introduce Chief Mefford here. He's my new deputy chief. Chief Mefford has a degree in emergency management and a background in law enforcement, and he's currently working for a private lake and pond management company. He has over 2 decades of management experience. So he's quite valuable to me as far as helping to manage the day-to-day operations of Bullard Fire. Also, some months ago when I talked about sending somebody to grant school, Chief Mefford is the one that we sent to grant school, so he's also our grant administrator for Bullard Fire. Last thing I wanted to mention is it's already somewhat of public knowledge. Some people may already know, but one of our members, Sharon Grammer, has been diagnosed with breast cancer. This is Captain Grammer's wife, and so I just wanted to ask that everybody keeps her in their thoughts as they start to look at treatment options in the next few weeks and over the holidays. All right? Any questions for me? Thank you.
Level Hill. Lower again. You got up down more than Jack.
That's all right, though. That's all right. Well, pretty much, as you can see, we had 111 incidents. We did have a couple, I think we had like 19 responders. But we have a Canadian that runs our calls with us, but we can't get him in the system. I don't know why, because our last Canadian went right in and she ran calls and we put her in the computer, but for some reason Matthew has not been able to get in the computers. Don't know why. There was one that was a day crew, but I think they got it taken care of on a wildland fire. And then there was another one, a no response, but we was canceled by Battalion 2 on October 14th. I'm not sure who was battalion that day, but anyhow. And then we had 2 events last month. One was the firehouse at the elementary, and then we also had a brawl for the cause, which I think we had a couple of ESD guys and volunteers do that over on the VFD on American Legion Road. We've also put on 3 new members this month, and we have 2 new applications that they just applied last month for us, or last Monday for us. We are having an event on 31 on Saturday. It's Bikers Against Bullies. It starts at 11:30. There should be about 200 bikes there. There'll be prizes, toys given. I think there's going to be food and stuff like that. Everybody come out, look through the homes. You can buy raffle tickets to win a Pit Boss pellet grill. And we also have the Tyler Parade this Thursday at 5 o'clock, which we will be participating in. Other than that, that's pretty much all Chapel Hill has right now.
Thanks, sir.
All right.
Good evening. Everything's going good in Dixieland. Had 133 incidences. Had 1 event, which was going to be breaching doors. I appreciate Larry coming out and getting on the heater. I had a heater in Bay 1, or Station 1, that was hanging by 1 all thread instead of 2. It was kinda at an angle. Anyway, they finally got on that pretty quick. Once they turned it in, got it fixed. Do have some reports that they're looking into duplicates for some reason. I think Adam was looking at them and Joe Nix today was looking at them also. That's fixed to get cleared up. Other than that, everything's going smooth. I will talk to y'all in closed session. Other than that, thank you.
Good evening. I've got one person going the end of this month, the 30th, go for his 2 weeks in Sulphur Springs, so hopefully I'll have another certified firefighter in just a few more weeks. So, on my 7 one-person responses, as we have kind of said before, a lot of these can be misinterpreted. That's where we said that. I don't know what we're really gaining by looking at that, but because like one of mine on there is Flint was out doing training. Captain Jesse, he run it. He was Battalion 1, got on scene, canceled it. Noonday was running and Flint was running. So it's not a one-person response. It was just one from Flint. Then another one was the same deal. Flint Engine 1 was out of service and they were changing stuff from one engine to another engine. Call come out, Noonday was covering, Flint Command 1 went, so it just showed as a one-person response. And that's pretty much kind of all the way down through here, other than one where our engine went out of county. On the way back, it broke down. The rest of us was at Noonday fighting a fire. When Command 1 come back from the out of county, run a car wreck with Chapel Hill, which was filling in, and then proceeded to the fire, but it showed up as a one-man response. So, and then another thing that we need to, I don't know if this is a training issue, Chief, or not, but I've got 2 reports. It's basically reporting errors. Flint Engine 1, Flint Attack 1 went, and Flint Command 1, but all that showed on the report was Flint Command 1. So that definitely had a whole lot more Flint units, just didn't show it. Then another one was 2 of the career staff checked in with their iPhones, but never checked in on the tablet. And then all it shows is Command 1. They never checked in on any kind of units. So we've got some issues there that we really need to try to work on and work out on the reporting end of it. So, but.
Yeah, it's gonna show a POV if they do it from their phone.
Correct. So they didn't go back in and correct it and put like an engine, and so they're not showing as they were even on the call when they were.
What's the point of they just checking en route from the refiner, getting up and walking to the truck?
Well, I don't know that that's necessarily.
It's tablet issue.
Tablet has an issue?
Yeah.
It may be that they, depending on time frame, whether they're logged on. Yeah.
Right, yeah, no, I just was curious.
Yeah, it's, for us in Engine 1, I know for them guys, it's a tablet issue.
And it sounds
They're
like some of
not.
those are just, the reports aren't being completed properly, because in the instance of them being canceled, they should have gone on scene and
Right.
canceled, right?
But like them others where there's other things going on and other units in one area and another area and only one goes, but there's still other units coming from other areas because we're out in other areas. It's showing as a one-man response because that's all that responded from our department.
I appreciate you telling us, but I don't think we're looking at this to penalize you on having 7 one-man responses. This is to identify issues that we can fix.
Right, but I'm saying
whether it be training issue or product issue or whatever. it may be,
right,
so.
and that's why, like I said, I wanted to kind of show what we're looking at
Yeah, all right.
because it's just, that's what we've been looking at.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, that's pretty much all I've got.
Appreciate you.
Jackson Heights. Chief Thompson.
Afternoon, everyone. Since we had 64 incidents for the month of October, we had 3 events. I can only recall one that I attended. It's going to be the Harvest Festival at Betty's Learning Center. The one-person response, that is a true event. There was a structure fire that the crews were out on. We also got called for a grass fire on County Road 26. Winona and myself responded to that incident. When I checked the reporting system today, there was no missing reports. We do have an event coming up December 3rd. It'll be 10 years that Jalen is no longer with us. So we'll have a memorial at our station at 3 p.m. December 3rd. Have any questions for me? All right.
Thank you.
Dave's not here because Chief Harper's working, his assistant chief was supposed to come, and he's the president of the board is out of town, so. I think Dave, Red Springs, anybody here from Red Springs? Nope. Okay, True, Chief Auburn.
We've tried to keep a lid on everything down there. We have been busy. We've had 52 incidents, which is, we're up on incidents all the way around for the whole year. Our one-man responses are nighttime medical calls. I've explained that several times up here, and I think we're all aware of it. I've got 2 new boys that just came on the department. They're going to start the academy in January. I think one of them's going to Jacksonville. One of them's going to Kilgore, and one of them's going to TJC. And I've got some more I've got another one that I've got in the system now, just waiting on them to get their background check and stuff like that. I've got several more that have voiced interest in it, so we're working on building it back up a little bit. I know it got pretty down low there for a while, but that's about all I got, unless y'all got something you need.
No, sir, thank you. White House, Chief Champion.
Everything's been going good at White House. We've had 72 incidents. Still have, 12 with one-person responses. Majority of them are medical. Okay. Had 1 incomplete report. We had 3 events go on, and I've been trying to rack my brain and remember what they were, and I don't remember. You remember, Larry?
2 of them would be meetings.
Right. That's about all we got. 16 personnel. We've got a couple that have come to our last meeting. That's been showing interest. We got them applications. Looking forward to seeing them back at the first of the month.
Sir?
Also, one more thing. Let me throw in there. If you're available and can, we have day staff at our station. The one that we've had since we pretty much started day staffing is retiring Friday. Okay. Murillo's setting up and having a little event for him like 3:30 Friday afternoon. So if you can get away and come by for a minute, wish him the best. We hate to lose him. I mean, he's older than dirt, and he's older than me. Okay? But he is, since day one, he thinks White House Station is his station. He treats it that way. And I especially hate to lose him for that fact, because that's just the way he is. He's awesome. been awesome, man. He started out there as a volunteer and just grew from there as it went along, so. If you can get away, we would appreciate it. 3:30 Friday afternoon.
Yes, sir.
At the station.
Between 3 and 5.
Yeah, between 3 and 5.
Yeah. Trying to make it that long where everybody can filter in and filter out.
Steak and beer for everybody.
Sir?
Steak and beer for everybody.
Yeah, sure.
Chief Al? Well, I wouldn't say that.
It's been going pretty good in Winona, man. We've gotten a lot of training done, a lot of stuff fixed and repaired. Been relatively busy, especially this last weekend. The blockers were very well effective on the interstate. We've been able to divert traffic around the 271 area. Had a 18-wheeler versus motor coach accident there on the bridge. But the blockers really paid off there. So. Go ahead.
Thank you, sir.
Training division report, item 15.
We've been very busy. A lot going on. I'm not going to go through all of it unless you have specific questions. Just kind of some highlights. Been running what we call a top hand side-by-side engine contest, which has been very interesting to observe. That's basically where we pull a crew from opposite ends of the county, one from the north, one from the south. We bring them up and they run parallel courses that include the stretching of 2.5-inch lines, throwing ladders, forcing doors, just fireman type stuff, and letting them compete against each other. It's created a lot of camaraderie and a lot of fun, and that continues. We also intend to expand that into our nighttime drills and try to facilitate that among different companies from the VFDs. We built 2 confidence courses. A lot of people participated in this, training captains, various volunteers from areas and career staff as well. But we have one in Red Springs now and one upstairs at White House. So those are SEBA confidence style courses. One's a little more difficult than the other. But we have an entry level and then one that's a little more of a mastery kind of conversation. Lots going into our hiring conversation, testing, physical ability test, facilitating interviews and written examinations. So with that, if you have any specific questions, we'd be glad to answer them.
I don't have any. Thank you.
And I did bring you guys something that I'll give you before closed session.
Okay. Item 16, human resources report.
Okay. The employee assistance program has come up for renewal, and it's for January, and so I wanted to bring that to the board's attention. It is $7,075, and so I was bringing that to the attention. It needs to be signed at the end if you all approve it, and I'll bring that over.
So the cost of the program is $7,075 per year?
Yes. Okay. And then the other thing was I had one safety report, and it was on color coding the volunteer helmets based on qualifications. It was saying that it would help with critical assignments during a fast-paced emergency.
Is that not something we've been
I
counting
think
on
we've
already?
already done that, haven't we?
There are officers that don't hold certifications. That's where you run into your problems. So if they get elected as an officer and they don't hold the right certifications, then they'll have a red helmet or a white helmet, for instance, without those qualifications. That's where the confusion comes in.
All right, thank you.
The other thing I wanted to just give you an update on UKG. Today we did roll out a test environment for the clocking in and out. We've got about 35 personnel that are doing that. And so that'll go on for this 2-week pay period, and we'll compare those to our current timekeeping process and see how those compare and how it's working. So there's been a little tweaking I've had to do today, getting it off the ground. But at this point, I think I have it working, so I haven't heard any more. So I just want to let you know on that.
Well, we need to go back to item 16.1 and we need to either,
I'll make a motion that we approve the renewal for $7,075 for fiscal year 23.
a motion by Commissioner McKeith and a second by Commissioner Wilson that we approve the renewal for $7,075 for the Employee Assistance Program. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, say nay. Motion carries. Is there anything you of us need to sign? Okay.
Yes, I can bring it to you after.
Okay, all right. Item 17 is the Support Services Division items. Larry, looks like you got the rest of the meeting, so take off.
Yeah, most of it. Somehow most of the purchasing ends up under me now, so.
Yeah.
Can I ask that we take up item 17.2 first instead of 17.1?
Need to get all that stuff.
Yes, sir, that came in a little out of order. I'm not sure how that happened, but we need to talk about 17.2 before we talk about 17.1.
Okay, we'll move item 17.2 above 17.1 and go with that.
All right. So in item 17.2, you have the funding request in front of you as well as a project analysis report. This is to remodel the third building that we've just started leasing. A few points to hit on this is the building committee feels like that building will be good for us for the long term if we decide to stay at this property. I've already been in discussions with the landlords of this property, and they've already had an appraisal done, and they've agreed on building 3 to, if we decide to purchase, to use this appraisal prior to any work being done. So we would not be.
We have that in writing?
Yes. Yep. Well, we're gonna get it over to Coker before any of this would be complete. But before we did all that, I need to know if the board wants to continue with this. So most of these we have 2 quotes on. We're waiting on the 3rd quote on a few of these. Some of these aren't required to have more than 1 quote because we're doing it under the master service agreement. So in front of you, you have all the costs and the analysis, and we're just looking for a decision from the board. In a nutshell, have all of you read the analysis report, or do I need to summarize what this project is doing?
Go ahead and summarize it.
Okay, so we've acquired that 3rd building, we've started paying rent on that. That building has a lot of work that needs to be done to make it operational. So what this would be doing is replacing all the ceiling tops, which we had to pull down. They were all moldy, mildewy, falling apart. So we've already removed those. We've already had those all gone. This would be replacing the ceiling tiles, replacing all the electrical. The entire electrical system needs to be upgraded in this building to support the other projects that we need to do with that. It'd be spray foaming the bay area, adding an air conditioner to the bay area, which will allow us to bulk purchase and store paper products and consumable goods, which will save us money in the long run. Without air conditioning, we have humidity that's too high, those products would break down. In addition, air conditioning the bay allows us to add an additional office space by moving the logistics person officing into the bay area. Frees up an additional office that's within that building. So there's 3 offices that exist in that building. We'd be able to move all of the operations. Training chief, fire chief, and assistant chief would be in that building. Logistics would be in the bay area of that building, which frees up more office space for the PIO and other positions. So we added additional office space. And also is doing the paint and all the lighting fixtures and everything inside. And floors, the floors is horrible too.
I know we keep beating this dead horse. But you're doing this because you haven't really been presented with another option. Are we?
We have looked at other options. So one thing that I did in the project analysis report was to include looking at other facilities. And if you look at what we're paying in cost per square foot, we're only about a $2,000 difference if we moved anywhere else, based on the cost per square foot.
But you don't see any major benefit to being under the same roof, and I'm thinking
there is
boardroom in conjunction with all of our operations.
There is, but I think from a logistics standpoint, it doesn't matter where it's really at. It doesn't have to be attached to administration. I think we see this building fulfilling our needs logistically for probably the next 10 years or so.
supplies.
So, I think most of the conversation has been around maybe acquiring that property and, building an administration facility in the open ground that's there.
Right.
We would then be able to continue using this building as a logistical facility, because it's got a loading dock and a loading ramp.
I mean, I like it so far, I just wanted to make sure that we had at least.
I do think this is our best course.
Correct. So then, as far as budgeted goes.
So this is not specifically budgeted. We do have money that's in the the capital improvements budget that's kind of earmarked for Winona Station 3, adding some bays, and the Jamestown conversation. So included in this funding request, I offered up some areas that we may be able to cut. If we get down to the point where we actually have to start cutting, it would be earmarked in the approval of this project. So it is funded through budget cuts in other areas.
Okay.
All right. Well, Commissioner Donnelly called me yesterday evening after he looked at everything. He said he talked to you about those deals, and he said as long as you can live with those cuts and stay within that budget, he would support it, and I will too. But I think that's what we'd like to do to make it work, is to go with those areas you said we need that can be cut without any problems.
Okay, we can do that. So what we'll end up having to do is come back, if the board adopts this, what I'll end up doing is working with Eric and coming back with a budget amendment, just like we did just a while ago, next agenda, to move these funds into the capital.
All right. Anything, Sean? Okay. I have a motion by Commissioner Wilson that we approve 17.2 to do the remodel with $80,000 with the unfunded portion coming out of different budgeted items.
I'll say.
And a second by Commissioner McKeithen. Is there any other discussion or question? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, say no. Motion carries. Okay, now we'll go back to 17.1.
And give us a second, she's trying to catch up here. So 17.1 is the equipment to outfit this building. This would be inclusive of heavy-duty forklift pallets and pallet racks, it's called a pallet stacker, which will allow us to, it's basically a miniature forklift, and operated miniature forklift. It's electric powered and will get up to the top shelves. And all the miscellaneous equipment like flammable storage bins, corrosive storage bins, pesticide storage bins, a safety shower, eye wash station, first aid kit, fire extinguishers, everything we need to outfit logistics is within this budget request. Some of this will be phased in. It may not be purchased all at the same time, but what I don't want to do is piecemeal this stuff out. I want y'all to approve this, and that way y'all have a true understanding of what getting the logistics operating in an efficient manner is going to take.
And also, Chief Arnold said he had some of that shelving that you may be able to use, and might be able to cut some of your costs there too.
It may. We'll have to go look at what it's rated at, whether it's rated for pallets. We'll have to see, but it's possible.
Yeah. Try to make use of everything we can. If we got stuff around that we can use, just use it, as long as it's still good.
Funding of this in the same manner as the last. I'll make a motion that we approve 17.1 not to exceed $35,000.
I have a motion by Commissioner McKeithen to approve item 17.1 not to exceed $35,000. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second by Commissioner Wilson. Any other discussion or question?
Well, on the basis that we've got to cut elsewhere too? Okay,
That's correct.
Okay. All right. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, say nay. Motion carries. Okay. All right, 17.3, discuss, consider taking action on approving the installation of a bay heater at Ridge Spring Station 2 at a cost not to exceed $12,030. I have one question on that, Larry. Is that heater completely out, or if it just needs to be replaced?
They've never had one.
Never
So
had
this
one.
is
That's-
something that's come to my attention.
And that's what that was a question I was asked last night, and I said, I don't think there ever was one there, and I wanted to know why we needed one. I said, mainly to keep the bay warm, to keep the pump from freezing
Yeah, we
in
gotta
the
keep the
winter.
pumps from freezing. So they did it last year with some electric heaters, and
Right.
that's just not efficient or safe. This, in front of you, you have the gas installation as well as the cost of the unit itself. So, both of those are actually under a master service agreement, so no additional quotes were required.
Well, I'll make that motion that we approve the installation of bay heater at Rich Springs not to exceed $12,030.
I'll second.
I have a second by Commissioner Wilson. Any other discussion or question? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, say nay. Motion carries. 17.4, discuss, consider, and take any action on purchasing bulk fluids for the fleet at a cost not to exceed $12,000.
Real quick, we're trying to get caught up here. So,
Okay.
that was you motion, who was second?
Charles.
Okay, in front of you, you have the funding request for the bulk purchase of shop fluids. This has been, basically, we're gonna try to bid this out next year again. There's bulk storage tanks that are already there that are provided by the vendor, so they have to be filled by this vendor. So I'd ask that y'all go ahead and approve it, and then I'll look at this as a master service agreement, RFP process moving forward.
Make a motion to approve 17.4 not to exceed $12,000.
I have a motion by Commissioner McKeithen to approve item 17.4 for bulk fluids not to exceed $12,000.
I'll second.
I have a second by Commissioner Wilson. Any other discussion or question? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, say nay. Motion carries. 17.5, discuss, consider, and take any action on the purchase of licensing for Microsoft Office not to exceed $30,000. Is that yours, Larry? Or
It is.
Well,
I'll take it. So, this is a budgeted item. It's actually coming in a little under budget, so we'll probably use some of this to offset some of those other projects. But this is a budgeted, pre-planned upgrade that needs to be done.
Make a motion to approve 17.5 not to exceed $30,000.
No, second.
I have a motion by Commissioner McKeithen to approve 17.5 not to exceed $30,000. I have a second by Commissioner Wilson. Any other discussion or question? Not, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, say nay, and the motion carries. I don't know what's the matter with our computers now, they're going crazy.
Just trying to get them.
Well, mine keeps losing connection for some reason.
So support kicking
It's not ours here.
No. All right, 17.6, discuss, consider, and take any action on the purchase of fire hose to complete the outfitting of district heavy apparatus not to exceed $33,000.
So if y'all remember back last year, we did this same project. This is the continuation and finalization of that. This second phase, basically, to continue outfitting the apparatus with the new style hose.
And coming in under, looks like as well, right?
Yes.
I like it.
Okay, I'll make the motion to that. It's under 33, you said,
Not to exceed.
not to exceed 33,000.
A motion by Commissioner Wilson to approve the purchase of the fire hose, complete outfitting of district heavy apparatus not to exceed $33,000. And a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner McKeithen. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, say nay. Motion carries.
17.7, discuss, consider, and take any action on the purchase of Chick Class A firefighting foam for district engines in the amount not to exceed $14,947.90.
I agree with the request. I'll make the motion to approve 17.7, not to exceed $14,947.90.
And that's from Siemens. Is that what it is from?
The, whatever funding request.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Have a motion by Commissioner McKeithen to approve the $14,947.90 for Chick Class A foam. Have a second?
I'll second it.
Have a second by Commissioner Wilson. Any other discussion or question? Not all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, say nay. Motion carries.
So is this, the hose and nozzles were budgeted under the same?
So they both will still be under budget in combination.
So that we budgeted 90 total, 45 each, and they're both under each of their budgeted amounts. Okay.
17.8, discuss, consider taking action on the purchase of nozzles to complete the outfitting of district heavy apparatus at a cost not to exceed $19,305.08. Do we have a motion?
I'll make that motion, not to exceed 19,305.08.
Yeah. And a motion by Commissioner Wilson to approve 1708, not to exceed the amount of $19,305.08. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner McKeithen. Any other discussion or question? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, say nay. Motion carries. 17.9, discuss, consider, and take any action on the purchase of uniforms for Bullard VFD at the cost not to exceed $4,700. Chief Ryder?
Yeah, you can, you're right there.
Thank you.
I do have something I'm gonna add when you're done.
Okay, sure. So back in June, Captain Trotty asked if there were any last minute uniform requests for that to round out that fiscal year. So we submitted this request on June 15th. That went to FR Girls, and it was approved in August, on the 25th of August, for $2,670.50. It was not used because on September 9th, Captain Trotty asked me if we would consider canceling the order and then reordering using the no mix. So he canceled the order. We went and got the no mix sizing kit, resized my whole department, and so now we've resubmitted the request for the 13 uniforms back to FR Girls, and as we expected, the cost is higher because of the no mix uniforms, which came back to just under $4,700. So my request was that I was going to see if you would honor the $2,670.50 from last fiscal year that was not used, so that the remaining $2,029.50 from this request will go towards our uniform budget for this fiscal year.
I was gonna ask the same, that's actually what I was gonna add, so.
Thank you.
Yeah, I agree, we'll have it.
Will there be a problem there doing that?
I don't think so.
How do you want that worded?
Well, just go ahead and word it as, the approval of up to $4,700, and we'll handle that, I think, internally with managing what comes out of their budget plans.
Okay, I'll make a motion to approve 17.9, not to exceed $4,700.
I'll second.
I have a motion by Commissioner McKeithen to approve the uniform purchase for Bullard Fire Department not to exceed $4,700, and a second by Commissioner Wilson. Any other discussion or question? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, say nay. And the motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. Now we get to hear your board report, Larry.
Well, I'm gonna keep it for short, so y'all have my report in front of you. If you need to ask me any questions, you're welcome to. There's been a lot going on. We're trying to get, a new facilities division taken on. We are handling a lot of facilities-based requests. We have a long way to go. If the current burn rate continues, we will be trimming to be over budget on facility repairs. I anticipate that to start slowing down though, and I'll have better projections for y'all probably first of January.
Try not to go over budget, but.
Well, we've got to get stuff fixed.
Prioritize what needs to be fixed.
We'll bring it to y'all for decision at that point, but I just want to make y'all aware that we are trending pretty high, but we have some stuff that's been neglected, and we've got to get it fixed. So, we've also been working, me and Chief Smith have been working with the apparatus committee, and we attended the long range planning committee. We introduced a apparatus replacement program, and we'll be bringing that to the board shortly. We're almost complete with an apparatus replacement schedule for reported options. So we'll be bringing that back to y'all maybe in a December meeting.
Okay.
Do y'all have any questions for me?
No. Does anybody have any questions for Larry? Okay. All right. Well, let's see, who else we got here? Operations, who's gonna give, Chief Smith's report?
Chief Smith was called in an emergency, so I think Larry's got information.
Yeah, so again, he has provided the report to y'all, so if y'all have any questions, I'll be happy to try to answer them. But other than that, his report is included.
18.1, I'm sorry, I skipped it. Discussing taking an extra action on SCBA flow tests for districts, SCBA's.
And I will take 18.1. So this is something that we've done, that we're required to do. We need to go ahead and get it done. We are asking that we don't go with the low bid. There's a difference of about $20.
How much?
$20.
Okay.
And that will allow us to stay with Metro, who's been doing ours. We have a history with them. We'll actually save money in the long run because Metro already has access to our stations. So if we would switch companies, we'd have to reissue ID cards, and those would cost more than the savings. So we'd ask that y'all allow us to go with Metro in this case.
I'll make a motion to approve 18.1 using Metro Fire for the amount of $6,580.
I'll second.
Have a motion by Commissioner McKeithen to approve the $6,580 for SCBA testing, flow testing, with Metro Fire, second by Commissioner Wilson. Any other discussion or question? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, say nay. Motion carries. Okay. 19, Administrator's Report.
Thank you, Commissioner Brown. I've got a couple items. I'll be brief on my report. You've got my written report of my activities since the last board meeting. I'll entertain questions on those. It's been very busy. Staff has been extremely busy. I'm very happy at their performance, just to relate to the board. We've got new processes, new personnel coming on board, and a lot of moving parts right now. And they've really stepped up at all levels of our staff, administrative staff as well as the field staff. It's really starting to rock and roll. Especially when I want to advise the board on one accolade to Sherry. She's done a tremendous amount of work on this UKG transition, and they started the testing today, and so far it's rolling along. There will be some speed bumps here and there, I'm sure, but yeah, she's put forth a supreme effort, and I want to appreciate that. Are there any questions on the other items in my report that you see?
Who's all on the standard committee meeting or whatever? Standards and
Standards
training.
and training. Chief Clinton is the chair.
Who all's on that committee?
Chief Harper, Chief Arnold.
Okay.
I believe Chief Kroll is on there. I'm trying to remember exactly. I believe Josh Britton, Caleb Snyder.
And I sit in on those meetings as well. Or meeting, he had his inaugural meeting. So
who else?
I think that's it. I can recall.
Well, that's fine, we just need to know who's on the committees.
Yes.
You know?
And as I said in my report, I did attend an apparatus committee, long range planning committee, I'm seeing a great deal of progress by those committees that are coming together and really starting to move forward with what I was referred to as focused activities that are going to be, I anticipate they're going to be very productive. If you have no other questions about my report, I have a couple of items as we move down into the 19th. I'm happy to address them.
19.1 is proposed date change for the December 2022 regular board meeting. If you want to, I can handle that. Since Christmas holidays would be the 26th or right after Christmas, we're going to move the December meeting to December the 19th at 6 o'clock. So we'll change that instead of December 26th. Okay, Mike, 19.2.
Do they need to vote on that to change the date, Mr. Coker?
It would be best.
Okay.
Yeah, just to make it
Well, I'll
official.
entertain a motion to change the date from December 26th to December 19th.
So make
I have a motion by Commissioner McKeithen that we change the meeting date from December 26th to December 19th. I have a second.
Second.
I have a second by Commissioner Wilson. Any other discussion or question? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, say nay. Motion carries. So we will have our meeting on the 19th.
Same place. I did check, the room is available.
Okay.
I presumptively reserved it.
Okay, 19.2, January special board meeting. Talk about that, Mike.
We have, as we have a new board member swearing in to come on board after the 1st of January is a Sunday. Monday, the 2nd, staff holiday, so we wanted to set it for the first available date. It would be Tuesday the 3rd, to have a special board meeting and make the arrangements for the take the oath of office for the new board member. Just need your approval to make those arrangements.
Do we know where we're gonna hold this meeting at?
Not yet. We could have it here, or we could determine a different.
Find out from him where he wants to have it. He
Yeah.
may have a special place he wants to have it.
Exactly. I'll check into that.
That doesn't need an action, does it? Not call a special meeting.
No, no.
Just want to make sure that works for everybody.
That's fine, it is. And I would encourage all the administrators, staff to attend. If you can. If you're busy or out of town, I understand. 19.3, authorization request to allocate funds to reserve hotel rooms and conference attendance for safety conference in February of 23. I need to speak on that a little bit too. Every one of us need to go to this conference to be able to get your 6 hours of CE. I know all the board members will probably go to that for sure, because we have to have 6 hours of continuous CE every 2 years. So, anyway.
I did take a poll of who's going, and so I have those numbers, and I reserved the conference space, an invoice which will come later. That's where so I do have the cost of that from safety, which is the $47.20. I did a little research on the hotels in that vicinity, and the amount that I'm asking, the additional amount would cover the average hotel near the conference, and then of course there's some. I did some calculations on mileage reimbursement and meal per diem. So I'm asking for the board to allocate $15,000 to cover the costs of the conference.
So how many chiefs decided they wanted to go?
How many people in total, just in
No.
general? The reason I ask that, this is over double what our budgeted amount is. And do we really see a need for, the board, Mike and JD seem to be, is there any reason to go above and beyond that for this conference?
Well, my understanding is historically we've covered DFD chiefs that wanted to go, so I do have some that are on the list as well. I have 15 people on the list. Also, I wanted to include Eric, his new finance director. There would be value in that. Like I said, myself, JD, Cherry, also because there's an HR component there. And I also tentatively put down the chief yet to be hired, because at that point, that person will be on board allegedly, and they probably want to go as our new chief, potentially. And then I believe I put down a PIO as well, which is also yet to be hired. So all those together came up with 15 people, 15 slots. And I purposely, as far as the hotel costs go, the resort where this is being hosted, the lesser expensive rooms were few in number and gone. We could stay there if we went for the $500 a night rooms, which I'm not going to do. So this is to reach out, make arrangements at your more standard rate rooms in the vicinity.
Sure.
So I am being careful with that.
Mr. McKeith, can I speak for just a second?
Thank you.
You were asking if any of us had signed up to go, and I'm not sure who all did. I knew I didn't get my job. It's not going to allow me right at this time, but I do eventually want to go, because we've been encouraged since the beginning of the ESD to attend so that we understand the operations. And I think it's behooving to all of us as chiefs out here to know and understand everything that y'all are trying to do and to understand y'all's roles.
Yeah.
That way we don't question you, but I understand why you asked, because it's over the budget amount. But if that's gonna be the case, then we need to relook at that at the next budget and let's up this amount.
Absolutely. No, I don't disagree with sending for the training. I'm just wondering how we're over double. I can understand $1,000 more or whatever, but.
May I say, the budget was originally $12,000, and then the board cut it down to $7,000.
And that's my other problem. We do this for a reason. I mean, we're over, Larry came in under on several, but I mean, we nickel and dime this, and when I say nickel and dime, I'm thinking $1,000 and $5,000 at a time. We're just gonna continue. There's a reason we cut it. And so,
I had 2 chiefs go last year.
yeah, it just puts us between a rock and a hard place, man. I don't know what to.
Well, I understand.
On
one hand, don't encourage us to go to meetings and then not fund us to be able to go. That's my point.
I'm right there with you.
Okay.
It's an expensive venue. It's a very expensive place.
5 of the people on my list are volunteers. So pretty good.
I'll be frank and say that I think that we had a meeting between the career staff and the volunteers to try to resolve some discord, and education goes a long way to fixing that matter.
And from what I understand, this conference, people who have attended in the past place a high value on it. It's a very good experience for those that have gone in the past. And I don't know if it helps the matter at all, but I know, like I mentioned earlier, I'm very pleased with the direction our staff's going. We're building team, and I think this goes a long ways to continue that team building experience.
So also on the budget conversation, you have the express amount of money set aside for safety, but I think I have, 75 in training and conferences, and this is certainly a training event, so that overage, I think, could be absorbed on my side.
You would be willing to do that?
I'd be willing to do that.
I do think it's important, but I do think that we need to, in the future, so that we can kind of dial this in, maybe there's 15 slots per year granted, and we make this something that, okay, so with that, I make a motion that we approve the amount requested of 15,000, pulling from both GL codes, or however you want that. We appreciate that.
So including the budgeted amount for the conferences and also taking some from Chief of Claims Training Fund.
And I look at that as a not to exceed. I'm gonna do my best to
Sure.
come under that with
Yeah.
hotels and so forth, so.
No, I do think it's important. I'm not trying to pull that away from anybody. I just want to make sure we do a better job of preparing for that.
Have a motion by Commissioner Keithen to approve the $15,000 that the money's being taken from the budgeted line items, and what is lacking would come out of the training budget from Chief Claims.
What is the venue?
Kalahari?
We didn't stay there last year, we stayed off-site. So we can find it. Have a second by Commissioner Wilson. Any other discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, say no. And we do not have to stay at the hosting hotel. You find something reasonable that accommodates within a mile or so of there, it'll be fine.
Yeah, the $500 next week's, I think.
Yeah.
I believe we can also apply for 2604 funds for volunteer chiefs to go to safety. So if they apply now, they'll be refunded.
Would you work with them on that, Court?
Absolutely.
That's no brainer as well. Thank you.
Oh, I do have something I want you to watch, House Bill 624. And I'll tell you a little bit more about it later. Item 19.4, discussion, consider and take any necessary action on struck-off properties, resolutions. There's 5 properties that have been sold for non-payment of taxes, and we just need the authorization to sign these off, where we'll get a little bit of money from the tax sale on those 5 properties. And you just need to be authorized for me to sign. Yes.
I like that motion.
Okay. I have a motion by Commissioner Wilson to, for me to sign the struck-off properties. There's 5 struck-off properties. And I have a second by Commissioner McKee. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, say nay. Motion carries. All right. Item 20 is closed session. The board will convene in closed session in Texas Open Meetings Act, Texas Government Code 55107, 55107, 55107, no action shall be taken while the board is in closed session. Any final action, decision, or final vote to be taken in closed session? We are. closed session need to be voted on at this time. Item 22 is remarks of presiding officer and or board members, information updates based on future agendas and meeting dates and times. So we already know about the meeting being moved from December 26th to December the 19th, 6 p.m. and we'll be here. Hope everybody had a happy Thanksgiving. We appreciate everything that you do. And at this time, I don't have anything else. Charles, you have anything you like to say?
I'd just like to thank, Matt, you, Mike, Sherry, Eric, and our attorney, Mike, for the hard work they put in on this closing on our property. It's really gonna help out us there. We thank you, and Matt, he put a lot of hard work in it, but everyone that's involved that I don't know about, thank you very much.
We're excited to see it happen.
Yeah.
We'll invite you to the ribbon cutting.
I want to thank you too, Matt, because I know you took a lot of time out of your daily work. It's not very often you get a realtor to work for nothing. So we appreciate it. Do you have anything you need to say?
I don't.
All right, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So made.
So made by Mr. Stephen.
Second.
We are adjourned.